Because about 10 minutes we'll have to cut it and restart it. Or maybe we'll just cut and then we'll have to restart it.
Cool.
Cheers.
Prost. Cheers.
Prost. Are you German?
No, but I just got back from Austria 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah?
I spent the last 5 months there, and yeah, so just naturally Prost comes to me.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go like this, and that's gonna cut the intro music.
Okay.
I have a vision already.
Okay.
So good to meet you, kind of.
Yeah.
We kind of know each other. You're a few years younger than me. We homeschooled together.
Yeah.
You're from the Borch family, which is 4 boys. I
Yeah.
remember being at your house once.
When was that?
When I was like a long time ago, because your house is kind of far out of the city, right?
It was. It's closer, probably closer now, depending on how long ago. Right now
It was
it's
a
maybe
while
like
ago.
30 minutes ago.
Okay.
Or 30 minutes from here. But it used to be like Pinoca area.
Okay.
So,
I remember being far out
Okay.
there, and you had a bunch of Playmobil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been the previous house in Pinoca.
Okay, cool.
Huh.
I still have all my Lego there.
Awesome.
It's color coded.
Oh yeah. Sweet.
So why do you think that your mom thought it would be a good idea for us to have a conversation?
It's a good question. I think it's because we are both kind of embraced the homeschooling or unschooling vibes but came out in different perspectives, like came out to be different people, but still have the same open-minded kind of interesting perspective and friendly perspective on life. That would be my thought. Yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, like you and your brothers were just slightly younger. Like I'm 30. How old are you?
24.
Yeah. Okay. So I was like a bit ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't like hang out growing up.
No. I mean, to be honest, I barely have any memories of you. It's always something, like my mom was like, you guys and the Gertz, you guys also had so much fun. They always had so much fun with you, and I guess I was too young to remember. But
I definitely remember you guys, but yeah, you were younger. You're on the younger end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
You were like Katie and Autumn's age.
Yeah, basically.
And Leah was like my older brother's age. I like hung out with Leah and Michaela a bit.
Okay.
But I was a little bit in between. I hung out with like the Latta family, Robert Latta. I don't know if you remember him.
No, sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So did you like homeschooling?
I really liked homeschooling. At the time, it was like obviously a struggle, but I don't think like it was as much of a struggle as normally the way what normal kids go through as they're growing up. I think all kids struggle when they're growing up, but the amount that I personally relatively struggled was pretty chill. And looking back on it now, can't imagine how I would have gotten to where I am without it. And it was and I like who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it too. There's like, I remember when I finally started going to school, I found it very hard to adjust to school.
When did you go to school?
I went to school starting in grade 6.
Okay.
And my mom was just overwhelmed. She just had a 5th kid.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I can't do it anymore. You guys are going to school.
Mm-hmm.
I remember just crying because I was afraid I had images of school. What school would be from like the movie Matilda and like other movies which make it seem like it's going to be a horrible thing. Turned out to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Partly because I'm like a white kid.
Yeah, well, that has a lot to do with it, probably.
I remember being the new kid with a guy from Lebanon named Khaled, and him and I were the 2 new kids, and we sat next to each other, and we were both so out of place, so new for us, and like everything about school was so weird. Like, first of all, just you're sitting all the time, you're sitting all day, in a desk, and you can kind of customize this little desk. But you're so confined, and in those bounds, you have to raise your hand for questions.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. The thing I couldn't accept was you had to call teachers by their last name. You have to say Miss Tessero. You had to say, and I couldn't get into it. I hated it. I thought it was a fake sign of respect.
Yeah.
And so I was just called her by her first name. Hey, Paula. And she took me aside and she's like, hey, you can't do that. You know, talking about Sarah, and I was like, I don't get it. I don't get why.
Yeah.
I like you. I respect you. Why can't I just call you by your first
Why
name?
can't we be friends?
Yeah. But then they got me.
Yeah, and just be real, essentially, and
Yeah.
I didn't have that, so I guess I went to school in grade 10.
Okay.
And it was more by choice, but we are living now where we're living now, and it's like isolated in the country, and I wanted to have a bigger social life than what living in the country all the time would do. Like, Mom would go into town, she would take me into town a few times a week, and it was fairly flexible, but just wasn't enough. And then on top of that, I was concerned about university prospects, which in the end I shouldn't have been, but it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was that much of a struggle. I definitely found things peculiar, like asking to go to the bathroom is a really, really odd thing to do.
Yeah.
And last names got me. But a lot of the teachers, maybe it was because it was like a really small high school, a lot of the teachers were still really personal. It was still on a last name basis, but there was only a couple who were kind of had that authoritative and embraced the authoritative position. Other than that, the name was weird, but other than that, it was still a fairly nice relationship.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are cool.
Do you wish you could have continued homeschooling?
No, not necessarily. I just loved it. It was just like, it was very social and very creative. But if school was good too. I mean, I loved school. I liked the social aspect of school.
For sure.
Because like as in the homeschool group, as social as it was, 'cause I lived near the locus of the homeschool group, which is like the
Riverdale, right?
Yeah, we lived in Holyrood at the time. And,
okay.
And Bonnie Doon was where a lot of the families lived at that time.
Yeah.
And so it was like close to the action in a very social life, but it's still sheltered. Like when I went to school and that new kid and I, Khaled, I was accepted into the mainstream group, but he wasn't really. And he was like, there's a bit of a language barrier. He always brought strange food. And it was like my first experiences of racism, seeing him being picked on or whatever, called a packy, like casually, and like that was a very weird thing. I remember one of the guiltiest moments of my life, probably to this day, conscience-wise, was Khaled. He would also lip off the bullies, which I liked. I respected that. And one day he did it, and him and I were walking home because we always walked home together. And the two like kings of the school, Cody and Steve, they came up behind us with their skateboards, and then
this is so typical.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and they kicked them up into their hands and were wielding them like weapons. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like trying to de-escalate the situation. And Cody, with whom I had just started to gain social capital with, and like start to see become integrated into the group, was like, "Get out of the way, or we'll hit you too." And I was like, and I got out of the way, and they went after Khaled, and I was still trying to sort of yell after them, and this mom like pulled her van to a stop and like started screaming at them, and then they took off. But in that time, they like hit him, and then he was knocked down, and then that mom chased the boys away, and I like helped him back up, and then I was like, I can walk him home. And I walked him home, and we sort of plotted our revenge. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get them expelled and stuff. But I just felt like a total traitor. Like I felt like a total coward. And I didn't realize that I had carried. And then the next year, we all sort of went to the same junior high, which is nearby. But he went elsewhere, and never heard from him again. And then about 6 years ago or something, I remembered his last name, and I found him on Facebook, and I found myself just like clicking through his pictures. Just hoping that he had like a normal life, just trying to see a well-adjusted person. I was like, oh shit, I have like guilt about this. Yeah. And so about a year ago, I wrote him a long message on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
Explaining that whole situation and my perspective on it, and hope you're okay, blah blah blah. And then I sent it, but I haven't heard anything since. But also probably because if you're not friends with somebody on Facebook and you send them a message, it just comes up as this like forgettable message.
Sometimes it sends you a notification that somebody sends you a message request, but sometimes it just completely ignores that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was weird. There's weird things about school in that way. Is like you witness this like just cruelty, partly because there's just so many people, and you can kind of be anonymous. Like you just see each other at school. You're not accountable to each other's families. You know, like you just see them at school, and if you don't have any connection outside of that, you can be an asshole. Yeah. Plus, it's like a weird time hormonally and everything.
Sounds like we had very different integrations to school, to be honest, because I guess mine was by choice and 4 or 5 years later. And it was a small high school, and those things combined made it much more easy integration. It sounds like for me, it wasn't a difficult time, I wouldn't say. I knew also some of the kids going in already from playing hockey with them the year before, and it wasn't that bad. I don't know if I would say I regret going at this point, but homeschooling definitely could have had its pros and allowed me a little more freedom, and probably would care less about what people think of me. And
if you homeschooled more, you would think less
of what
care
people
less
thought.
yeah
Right. Yeah, I think as soon as I entered into the homeschooling, entered into high school, I got kind of more aware of being a normal kid and wanting to be a normal kid and hanging out and not doing anything too extreme.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But the homeschooling group has its own kind of groups, and it's more free, but there's certainly a clique. It's still a clique. It's still expectations that you're going to live a certain lifestyle, and whatever it is.
Okay, I think it's going again.
Well, who knows how much we lost?
Yeah, who knows? We're coming to catch you up. We're talking about creativity.
Yeah.
And if it's lost or what. But I was shooting it. A friend was like, "Hey, you've done a green screen video before. Come to the library and help me shoot this video." And I went, and we had a camera, and we had a couple of lights. But they're like, "So, what should we do?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know. I don't know." I was trying to like have ideas, but I don't know. And also like, then when I would have ideas, it would just be so fresh in my mind. It'd be like I was tentative to share them because I don't want to be an asshole and too authoritative with ideas. I think that one thing that I get, and I don't know if it's from homeschool or not, is that I just don't respect authority that much. Like, it's not that I don't respect it. If it's real authority and it comes from a kind place, that's great. That's great, and I love that. I respect it and I'll receive it well. But if it's just authority for authority's sake, then I don't believe it. Because like, if I have an idea, I think, oh, this may be a cool thing. It's weird to venture it. It's weird to put it forth as like, this is what we're going to do. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Even though that can be a gift too. It seems more honest to me to be like, what about this? If you like.
Yeah.
Putting it in, and that seems kind of like wrapping it up in a nice Canadian.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, but what about this idea? But also that seems like an honest, like in a kind thing to do.
Yeah.
Way to put it.
That's an interesting. So I living in Austria the past 5 months. Got a lot of the opposite, and so I was there because my girlfriend, or whatever she is to me at the moment, let's call her my girlfriend. She is very typical in the German or Austrian sense of like, this is what we are going to do. And she doesn't mean it that way. She means it in the same way that I say, what if we did this? How about that? And, just a suggestion. It's really, we're saying the same thing. But there's a difficult communication there. But I wonder if some of it came from the homeschooling and trying to kind of be equals and not have this strict authoritative order to things, and just everybody's kind of proposing ideas.
It's a blessing and a curse, kind of.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
It seems more honest, but then on the other hand, it may be less energized or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Austria that sounds cool.
It was great. Yeah. Austria is a lovely country. We live in the mountains.
What? Why?
Why?
Yeah. Just cause you want to?
So for 2 months we were working at a hut, in the Alps, and then for 2 months we were in Innsbruck. Have you heard of Innsbruck? It's like a small town in Austria, directly south of Munich, right in the middle of the Alps, and yeah, just gorgeous. Both of the locations were gorgeous, and lots of mountain activities and lots of outdoor stuff.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah. Do you have many outdoors activities? You're an outdoors person?
I love being outdoors. Like I go running with my dog. I love kayaking. That's like one of my favorite activities in the world.
What sort of kayaking?
Just like easy kayaking. I've got a long
lake.
kayak.
Oh, awesome, sweet.
Like or like just floating down the river or going on the ocean is awesome. But I've never done the really intense like
not whitewater rafting.
Well, that seems awesome. I would love to do that.